Welcome. I'm so honored that you're joining me today in Reclaim Your Life event. I'm Duane. I'm a life coach, but really, I'm a champion for women restoring their self-worth and helping them to reclaim their lives and discover their authentic voice. This is the third season of Reclaim Your Life, featuring leading visionaries and heart-centered women whose passion through their work is to serve others and make the universe a better place. Each guest will share intimate details, how they transcended extraordinary challenges and in some cases deep trauma to become the women they are today. And I'm so excited and so honored that I could tear up to have today's guest because she is my personal bluebird. She is my guiding spirit and much of what I do, and has lifted me to be here and do this and do video. So I love her deeply, and to be able to share her with all of you is the greatest honor I could have. Host and inspirational revolutionary, Linda Joy is one of today's premier voices in women's heart-centered publishing. Her 6 multimedia brands, including Aspire magazine, serve over 43,000 women who embrace her message of love, feminine wisdom, and self-empowerment. She's a publisher of 3 best-selling books written by women and for women, including the recently released Inspiration for a Woman's Soul, Choosing Happiness, which went viral. Linda recently announced her 4th book, Inspiration for a Woman's Soul, Cultivating Joy, featuring the wisdom of visionary women, including myself. As you'll discover, Linda is passionate about encouraging women to rediscover and reconnect with their inner wisdom and empowering them to live deeper, more authentic, inspired lives, both personally and professionally. My dear friend and soul sister, I welcome you today. Bless you.
Mal, you know how much I love spending time with you. So thank you for inviting me to your event. You know I'm one of your biggest supporters in life and in business. Your message is meant to be shared. It's meant to be shouted from the rooftop. So thank you again for having me.
What I love about you so much, besides the inspiration that you bring to so many of us, is your complete transparency about your own journey, the struggle you went through, the darkness it brought you to, and here you are, a radiant light, leading 43,000 women daily to pursue their purpose and their passion. I don't think everyone really understands and appreciates that journey where you've come from. And that's what I love to share with today's listeners, is how you overcame so many challenges.
Well, you know, Mel, for a long time, I think like so many women, and you and I have had a lot of personal conversations about this, we carry layers of shame because of our past experiences or mistakes or the things we've gone through. And I was one of those women for many years. So the story that I so openly share now, it wasn't always that way for me, you know, and I remember feeling the weight of holding it all in. But the reason I share so much of myself now with women is it was when I released the shame, and I love a term you use, the shackles of shame and self-condemnation that I had carried. It was at that time when I was able to release it, that I was able to embrace being a welfare mom, being a runaway, a high school dropout, queen of self-sabotage. I could embrace that journey and look at it from the place of, I wouldn't be who I am today, have the empathy, the compassion, the love that I have for other women on this path if I hadn't had those experiences. So yes, I'm very open about sharing it, and I'll take you back to that period of time that you and I have had a lot of conversations. And I think it's all started really, my my moment was 1991, sitting on the side of the road. My daughter was 5.5-ish, and full transparency, I was contemplating suicide because I said, you know, this isn't the mother that she deserves. I just couldn't seem to get out of my own way. I was always making the same mistakes. And really, I see now, but I didn't see it then on that day. It was mistakes coming out of my own pain, right? Because we can't make choices we can't make positive choices if we're in that type of energy. But on that day, I was cursing the divine. I was sitting there pounding the steering wheel. It was a beautiful spring day, and I was so done. So done with hurting, and I didn't know any other way out because you only know what you know. And then, as I've shared it, for me, I didn't see it in these words then. So how I'm sharing it today is a very different place than how I viewed it then. But on that day, Mel, everything got really still and quiet. And I just heard this voice from within saying, are you done yet? Are you done whining, crying, complaining, raging? Because the core truth of who you are was never touched, because as you know, I was sexual abuse survivor and as well as making other mistakes in my life. And it was hearing that. And also hearing this one sacred truth that really resonates today and is the basis of everything that I do was, are you done? Because you have a choice to live differently. And in that moment, I took a Dunkin' Donuts napkin and started writing everything I wanted to be. Now, for the outside looking in, I wasn't writing, I want to be financially successful. I want a blue car. I want a house. For me, it was so much deeper than that. I wanted to live from the inside out. I wanted to feel joy. I wanted to feel love. I wanted to know what it was like to trust someone. I wanted to know what it was like to show up without all the masks I had been putting on. That moment, Mel, changed the whole trajectory of my life. That moment of realizing I had a choice, okay? And like I've shared, it all started with baby steps that just kept leading me to the right direction. So I share a lot of myself in all my brands and everything that I do because there could be another woman sitting on the side of the road in her car wondering if she's good enough to be a mom or a woman or if she can ever escape her past. And the answer is yes. Because you know what? Myself, Mal, many of the women in this event and many of the women in my circles, we are no different from you, and if I can do it, you can do it. And that's why I wanted to be here today, to be part of Mel's event, to get her message of reclaim your life. I did it. And Mel, thank you for just giving me space to be here and all those women to be here to let other women know that your past does not define your future. Your thoughts and actions do. And you can choose differently right in this moment.
And what I love, Linda, is you and I have both experienced deep, deep, deep pain. And in that moment of deep pain, if there's somebody out there today listening that is in that place, know that there's another way, that there is another choice, and that pain can literally be the turning point today. As you said, a different trajectory for your life. And when you can feel it and understand it and just break open a bit so the light can come in, that's when that voice speaks to us, and that's exactly what happened to me. I mean, I was ready to die when I heard another voice. No one should have to go to that dark place to figure out there is another way.
Yeah.
And that's the whole purpose of why all these women came on this year. Your work, your foundation, what I do, is to show women there's another way when you think you've just lost all hope. There isn't any other choices. There are.
Oh, and Mel, I think that's one of the greatest things I learned because, it wasn't all butterflies and roses, that day in the car. I knew immediately something had shifted, though I didn't have that kind of language back then, you know what I mean? But I felt an internal shift, and you want to know what that shift was? Hope. 15 minutes before that moment, there was no hope. But something changed in me in that moment, and I had this hope. And does it mean I had all the answers? No. Does it mean that I never made mistakes after that? No. I'm still human. I'm on this journey. But it began my journey. That was, like I said, 1991. And then here we are in 2015. It's been me taking baby steps, redirecting myself when I found myself going, oh, this wasn't the path I was supposed to go down. So, and just always knowing that within me, I had the power to change the path wherever it is. And to me, that is so empowering to really come to that understanding that we do control our destiny. Now, let me say this. We may not control outside circumstances that come at us. We will all experience loved ones passing away or illness, or that's part of the life experience. But we can choose how we show up in those moments. There was a time I would let, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Mel, and so many women I talk to, I would let the chaos of life spin me around like an F5 tornado. Now, and I think this is just from living life and grabbing as many tools and resources like events like this, I know now that me getting taken into the whirlwind of a tornado doesn't serve anyone, including myself. So by staying grounded in my truth, which is where love, in my faith and surrounding myself with amazing women, that allows me to stay grounded so I can be of service to my family, and that just such a big energetic shift. And sometimes I look back on my life and say, how did I do that? And I can't give you guys a path that says, take A, B, C, D, E, F, and you'll feel this way. All I can say is keep taking the baby steps towards the desired outcome that you want. But at the same time, be open to what is to come. Because if you asked me, Mal, and you and I have discussed this, if you ever asked me if I would go from single welfare mom, runaway, queen of self-sabotage, to best-selling publisher with a magazine, multiple brands, all dedicated to inspiring women, never in a million years did I plan this life. I just kept staying open to the signs, taking baby steps, doing what felt good to my heart and my soul, and of course, surrounding myself with amazing women like you.
You know, I read so much about women's suffering and what causes it. And over I hear that our thinking and how we perceive things can cause our suffering. And you touched upon that there were small steps, there was a shift. You got out of the chaos, you got out of that mental madness and allowed just a subtle, slow, energetic shift, perception shift in your thinking. And that took you on this amazing journey. And I know so many times now in my own life that my thinking, the way I react to something, can be the absolute cause of my pain. And so now I use a different toolbox, like you do. I realize that everything's a lesson. This is Earth School. And we don't get through here without lessons. That's it, and that's life. But those lessons are here to teach us something. And every time, even when I'm hurt and I'm in pain and I'm disappointed and my ego is shattered, I say, what's the lesson here, Mal? What's the miracle, the shift that you need to make right now to empower yourself to go forward and to create something from this, which is what you have done over and over and over again. Look at everything you have created from your journey, from your pain, how you were inspired. Not just a magazine, but multiple brands, producing books, being a business coach to so many women that want to step up and serve. That was done with a huge shift in perception and intention.
So true. And for me, you know what, I've come to realize this, especially in the last 18 months. I don't know if it's my age, I'm 52, and you start looking back and trying to grasp the nuggets of your journey, right? The nuggets of wisdom. And I was looking back because a lot of people ask me, why did I start Aspire magazine 9 years ago? Because they think it's like I have this grand business plan of all of everything you see now that I've created. And I laugh at that because I've never had a business plan. I never meant to go into business. And let me go back a little bit because I think it's so important about what we're talking about today, which is about following the breadcrumbs, following your soul's calling. When I got off welfare back in, it was around that 1990 mark because Nikki was about 5, it was around that same period of time. I got off welfare and I knew that I wanted to serve women. And I did everything my family wanted me to do. I graduated from a job welfare training program, got a great corporate job. And even though I wasn't on the spiritual or personal development path at the time, I think I've always had a strong intuition and inner knowing, even though I didn't have the terms for that. And probably about 2 years into that job, the only way I can describe it as my soul was dying. I knew that that's not the path I was meant. Even though I was working my way up, I started as a mailroom clerk, and when I left, I was like the assistant to the vice president. And I loved a lot of aspects of it, but it wasn't who I was, Mal. But again, I was trying to please others. I decided to walk away. I told my family, I said, I can't do this. I know I'm going to disappoint you all again, but I can't do it. And within 4 weeks, just from now I call it a divine download, I said, you know what? I want to open a consignment shop. That was my very first business in 1992. Again, didn't mean to go into business. I wanted to open a consignment shop because when I was at Welfare Mom in the Job Training Program, going consignment shopping supported me and the women in my class in feeling good about ourselves during the job training program. Do you know, within 3 years, Mel, following that passion, didn't know anything about business. I doubled my floor space. By year 5, I won Entrepreneur of the Year for the state of Massachusetts. You know the rest. NBC flew me out to Beverly Hills. I was on talk shows. We started out the college speaking circuit and speaking to women's entrepreneurial programs for low-income moms. Now, could I have mapped that out from a strategic business point of view if I stayed in my head and my ego? No, I don't believe I could have. The moment I stay tuned into my passion and my truth and my desire to serve women and empower them to believe in themselves, look at the magical paths that opened for me. And as you know, I kept that for 11 years. And then it was for the next stage of my journey. And Aspire was born from that, but always from this desire to serve. So that goes back to that day in the car in 1991 when I said that I started taking baby steps. Because when you wear masks for so long, Mel, and I'm sure so many of the women in your circle and your own private clients, we wear masks for so long that we forget who we are. So that day in the car, all that did was begin my journey to removing the mask, to discover my passions, discover my purpose, discover what gave me joy. And today I feel like I'm mask-free, and I'm sure there's layers still yet to come, but I feel so good about who I am and where I'm at, and that's what I want for all women. I want them to say, step out, learn what your passions are, learn what floats. I love to say float your boat. That's about living authentically. If it means going into business down the road to be able to serve more, then that's your path. If not, you're still shining your light and empowering and inspiring others.
So many of us live behind masks. I know I did as well, and for years. And then that dark night of the soul, I realized that I was so much more than the mask I had been wearing. That there really was this beautiful soul inside with the best of intentions who wanted to do so much, but was afraid to. And so I hid behind the mask of being an alcoholic and being a desperate soul who needed love and validation from people in order to feel worthwhile. And once that dropped away, like you, I knew that there was something more inside of me, that there was a calling. And it didn't just hit me over the head like a 2x4. It took a little bit of time to develop that voice that was there, that was calling me to do something. and to step up and to serve and to be who I'm meant to be and to be honest and be real and not be embarrassed and not live with shame and know that I'm a divine being and a powerful woman and I can go and help others. And there are so many women who have that capability that are listening today that can go and serve and help others. Just look in the mirror. Get in touch with what's buried beneath the debris of life. I mean, we pick it up, it's on our path, our hearts get cluttered, and if we can just push that debris aside, all of a sudden, your real purpose and passion comes shining through. And you are such a just the most beautiful example of doing that, Linda. And now how you serve is so huge. I mean, it's beyond what one can imagine.
And I thank you for seeing, just acknowledging that what I like to say my brands put out is to inspire women, like you said, to live deeper, more inspired and authentic lives. And I just want to share what that means. It means exactly what you just said, Mel. It's living deeper, more authentic, inspired lives means stepping out from behind the mask. Because one of the questions I ask myself always, anytime I feel like I'm coming up against an old story or an old block, because I'm still human, is I ask myself, is this fear or love making this decision? Okay. Beautiful. Fear keeps us small and restricted. Okay. So that, because I tune into energy. So when I'm feeling constricted, I'm like, oh, here's the old voice of fear coming back. When I feel creative, in the flow, aligned, that means I'm tuned in with the energy of love. So I'll give you a perfect example, and Mal will remember this. I've been hosting Inspired Living Secrets. I think this will be our 5th year. It was always an audio series. The thought of doing video, oh my God, just the thought of doing video. That's all I'll say. It was what we call like niche, like, oh my God, I'm never going to do video. But I knew then, the moment I felt that strong feeling, I'm like, oh, whoa, this is another fear, a false fear about being seen, about being vulnerable on the next level. I had done hundreds of audio interviews. It was easy to hide behind the microphone, when no one can see you. So 10 months before the last season, which I think was season 4, I made a public announcement and said, guess what? Inspired Living Secrets is going to a video platform for the new season. I made the public announcement because I knew by setting the intent to step through my fears, I would find the courage to do so. Now, since then, Mel, I've done 50-something between the Choosing Happiness book and all that, 50-something video interviews and said yes to you. But there's another example of when you feel that fear come up, do it anyway. I didn't magically create this life of these brands. I just kept having a vision and going, oh, how can I serve in this way? And stepping through the fear that comes with that decision and doing it anyway. And I've witnessed you and so many of the women in this series do the same thing, continually challenge themselves, whether it means on the next level of healing, transformation, whatever it may be, but you're always challenging yourself. And I think that's the key of tuning into the energy of love over fear.
I love it, pushing through fear. It's really...
Because it is going to be there, as you know.
Doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Comes up all the time. Life happens. Business happens. Relationships come and go. They create fear. And if we can just push through that, and it's not easy. It takes work. But anything worthwhile in our lives and what we do with them is so important that you have to put that extra effort into getting through the fear. And we can do it as women. There's nothing to stop us but ourselves. Nothing can inhibit us but ourselves.
It's so true. And one of the things myself is, and we can all use this example, okay, wherever you are in life, there's something, at least one thing, that you can look back on in your life that you at one time were either petrified of or fearful of or never thought you could accomplish. Remember that moment, okay? And now look at you. You got over that one moment that at one time you thought was the worst experience that you could possibly go through, but you got through and you made it. So every challenge that comes up now is nothing compared to what I've gone through in the past. Does that make sense? So it's almost like I kept testing my courage muscles and I would break through the fears. So now I have this whole encyclopedia of experiences, small, some big, that I can look back as a frame of reference and say, whoa, I got through this, and this. Who am I to think I can't get through this new thing? So the more you practice, use your courage muscles, the more contrast it gives you for creating the life that you want instead of living by default. And I think that's something we can all do. All of us can do it. I'm no different than Mel or any other woman in this series. We all have this gift to be able to transform our lives and, as Mel says, reclaim our lives and take it back. And what that means, like when Mel named this event, I remember saying, yes, that's what it's about. Because see, the truth of who we are is always there. We're not trying to recreate ourselves. We're trying to reclaim ourselves because we've given so much of our love and our power and our away that we're taking it back. It's awakening to our divine truth, which is we are magnificent women who are here to prosper, love, thrive, and transform on every level. And who are we to think we can't? You know, that's what. So when I hear reclaim your life, it just is really passionate for me, a passionate message for me.
I love the expression, the courage muscle. I think, I mean, it's true. That's what you need to exercise. And if, like anything else in life, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so I like that. I'm going to think, next time I have a challenge, and I've had a couple lately, I'm going to use my courage muscle today to get through this. Linda, you're such a powerful example for so many people. What could be like the best tip you could give somebody today that's listening to you to start this course of transformation, to start this path of making different choices? What one little thing could they do today that literally could just get them going in the right direction?
I think it's a simple two-part step. One is believe that you can do it. Okay? Because without the belief, the next step, it makes it a little tougher. So I just want you to say to yourself every day, I can do this, whatever this is. But second is start absorbing as much information. Like back when I changed my life, there wasn't instant access to amazing events like this, instant access to other women, resources, events, stories, wisdom. I had to learn the hard way. Now there's no excuses. So absorb as much inspirational resources as you can through Mal's event, downloading the gifts, because I'm going to tell you, when you tune into an event, this is just what I've discovered. You landed in this event, and I'll use this as an example for a reason. You were divinely led here because the universe knows there's something in this event that is very specific for your next step. So that would be my guidance, is take advantage of all the things that come your way that can support, uplift, and inspire you on your journey. And that alone will start raising your vibration. But you'll also receive the exact message you need to get to the next level. But start by believing in yourself, because I believe in you.
Linda, not only do you publish this beautiful magazine for women, but you give it away for free.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many people out there put so much work into a publication and then give it away for free to help other women to get on their path and to reclaim their lives. Please share with our listeners where they can go to sign up for this. Give them the URL, the domain name, where they can go and get Aspire magazine and connect with you.
I'd be honored, Mel. So Aspire magazine is a free digital subscription. You'll get 6 gorgeous flip page magazines every year. And you can get that at www.subscribetoaspire.com. You'll also get a sneak peek at the current issue. But the beautiful part is I've partnered with, I think, over 50 visionary women we call Team Inspiration Partners. So every subscription to Aspire also includes 50 transformational gifts to support you in living a deeper, more authentic, and inspired life. So again, subscribe to aspire.com.
Wonderful. I love seeing you. I love
Yeah, me
talking with
too.
you. I
We'll have
love
to have lunch
being with
soon. Now the
you.
spring is here, girl.
I know that now that your car's out from underneath the snow.
Yeah.
Yes. Bless you. I love you so much as my friend, but for what you do for the universe. You're making a difference. You're going to leave a huge footprint here, sweetheart.
Thank you, Mel.
Bless you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.